Hi, wonderful one. Welcome to Ministry and Money Masterclass with GK. On this channel, we learn more about money, money making, money management, and money multiplication. Thank you for being here today. All right, in today's episode, we're going to look at how to make money part 2, step by step guide. All right, let me say this, that if you are here and you haven't watched our previous video on how to make money part 1, 3 vital points, it's very important that you do so because it will facilitate your understanding of this video and the subsequent ones. It is very important that I remind you that the focus of this channel is not to make money for survival or hand to mouth or to equip you to live paycheck to paycheck. No, the general goal of this channel is to help everyone or to teach everyone, to give people the right information to attain financial freedom as early as possible. Let's begin. All right, so the first step the first step you need to take on making money is to identify ideas. Identify ideas, not necessarily an idea. And what ideas are we talking about? We are talking about money making ideas. We are talking about money making ideas. You need to remember the definition of money. What did we say money is, or what is money? Money is basically the universally or the generally accepted medium of exchange for purchasing goods and services. So the goods or the services you offer to get money in exchange is what we are talking about. So you need to think about an idea. Here you are trying to identify ideas that will put you in a position to give or to offer particular goods and then get money in return, or offer particular services and get money in return. Here we are looking at clean, legitimate goods, and then we are looking at clean, legitimate services because that is our focus. All right, so you'll be thinking about the ideas. Now, we said ideas and not an idea. People can make money. You can make money with one idea that is successful, one idea that is fantastic. But we are looking at strategy. We are looking at step by step guide that will not fail. That is why we don't want you to just identify an idea, and then the moment you start going to the subsequent steps and the idea is not able to continue, then you have to come back again. So identify at least 7 ideas, whether you are going to offer goods or you are going to offer services. Now, somebody will ask, where do I get 7 ideas? This is where we made mention of the 3 P's. So where do you find these ideas? Think about problems. So you are thinking about what problems are there for me to solve? What problem can I solve? In this problem that I'm going to solve, am I going to offer some goods, that is products, or am I going to offer some services? Am I going to do something for some people and in return they will pay me, they will give me money to, let's say, compensate my services? Think about that. What problems are there for me to solve? Then you look at it. This world is full of people. So the second P is people. What do people around me need? Or well, what do people, so because you can be making money by providing the need of people even outside your jurisdiction or outside your immediate terrain. So not necessarily in your village, in your hometown, everywhere. Because I'm speaking to people, some of you will be listening and you don't even know where I am. Others will know that where I am and where you are is even a distance. You need a visa, you need plane ticket to come to where I am, or I'll need plane ticket to come to where you are. So you need to think, what do people need? What do people need, and what can I provide for them? Is it a service I'm going to render to them? Then they will reward me for that by giving me money, or is it a product I am going to sell to them? So think about people, the need of people. So the first one is problem. You are looking at what problems are there for you to solve. The second one is, what do people need? So what needs of people am I there to satisfy? That is very important. Then the last one is to look at these 2 P's, problems and needs. So you are looking at place. The third one is place. So what gap is there for you to fill? What area is not covered? Which area is not overcrowded? So the only problem you saw is that you identify a need of a person, you went there to provide a need, and you saw that someone is doing. You keep on thinking, you keep on looking until you find either a problem that no one is solving at the time that you identify it, or you find a need that no one is solving, or you think about needs, some problems that people are solving it, or some needs of people that some people are providing it, but then you look at where are they providing it and where are they not providing it. Therefore, to make money, sometimes it becomes necessary that if you are in the city, you travel back to your village because there is a need there is a problem there that is not solved. It doesn't mean you are stopping. It means you have chance on the right information and you are utilizing it. And sometimes too, people travel from the village in search of greener pasture, but sometimes they just go out of emotion without the right information. Because if you see that there is a particular problem, there is a particular need in the city or in a different place, in a different country that you want to go there and take advantage of, then you move. So these are the things you're supposed to look at. So the place has to do with what gap is available to fill, or what is the vacancy there for you to occupy. So that is very important. So the first thing to note is that if you are going to make money, then you should identify ideas. You should identify ideas. That is the step one. Identify ideas. I think I've explained them quite enough. The comment sections are there for you. If you have any questions or you have some things that are bothering your mind, use the comment section to ask a question. We will respond to that in our next video. All right, okay. The second step to take is outline what you need to pursue those ideas. So there are ideas, there are some problems you've identified, there are some needs of people you've identified, there is a gap that you've identified. So you cannot just say that, oh, I know these things. First of all, let me just give quick examples and you go. So the first one is that you identify a problem, and then the problem that you identify, you want to solve it, but whatever you need to solve that problem, you don't have it. Please, you need to continue thinking to identify another problem. The second one too is that you identify a need of a person and you don't stand in the position to provide that need. That means you are still handicapped. Then you go to the third one, you identify some problems, you identify some need of people, and you see that around you people are doing it, but you identify a place that you think you can provide those services there, or you can provide those goods or services there, but then you don't have what it takes to take you from where you are to where you are supposed to be. That means you need to think again. So there is something that I put here. I will share with you, then we continue from here. Okay. If you got 3 or more ideas, but you could not start any of them solely because you did not have money or what were needed to start them, no matter the extent you try, then it meant you either did not think at all, thought within a box, or you did not use your mind. So these are the 3 main things we are talking about. I'm sure that majority of you have heard this before, so let me say that briefly. Majority of you have heard that many experts in this field of wealth creation or money making, being Pastor Matthew Ashimole, or being Dr. Emmanuel Olimide, being Robert Kiyosaki, being Jack Ma, name them. They've all talked about it, that for you to make money, the number one thing you need is your mind and not money. This is because it is another thing to say that I need money to make money. If you need money to make money, it is not about how to make money. It is not even about money management. It is about multiplication of money, money multiplication, making your money multiply. But many a times, all that people can think of is that to create wealth, they are thinking about using money to make money, using money to make money. That is just one out of the 3 categories of wealth creation. Because when it comes to wealth creation, the key thing, the number one step is making money, how to make money. So we are looking at someone who has nothing, or someone who has very little, even though you are employed, you are a career person, but what you are earning and your expenditure within the month, it doesn't even balance. So how do you such a person make money? If all that a person needs to make money is money to make money, then that means that these contents or such contents are not good for you because you don't have the money. How then do you make money? That is why we want you to understand that when you get the right information, you come to understand that making money is not all about having money. It is not all about having money. What you need in most cases is the right idea to know how to make money, even with little money or without any money at all. So that's what I want you to understand. So if you identify idea, how do you pursue that idea? You will need to look out for what research about it. What and what do I need to make this dream a possibility? You've identified a problem. How do you find a solution? What and what do you need to find a solution to this problem? You've identified the needs of people. What and what do you need to provide these needs? You've identified a particular gap that you want to occupy, that you think you deem fit to occupy that gap, but you don't have what it takes to find yourself at that place and occupy it. What the quote is telling you is that if you do whatever it takes, if you do whatever it takes to make those ideas you've identified a possibility and it doesn't work, no matter how you try, then three things are happening. The first thing is that it is either you did not think at all. You did not think at all. You were just looking at being lazy and just looking at what people are doing, and then you start, because some of you, maybe from the start, by the time I started talking about this, you were just reflecting on some things some ideas you think you knew, but you are only just chancing on what people are doing, but then you don't have what they have in doing what they are doing. That means you haven't thought. But there are some people who have thought genuinely. That is why the second part says that, okay, maybe you might have thought about ideas genuinely, but the second problem will be that you thought about that idea within a box. So, like a chair, you are looking at, let's think about how a carpenter makes a chair. The carpenter looks at a chair. And then this chair that the carpenter is looking at it is made of many things. Many things come to play. So what you need to do at this level is that try to look at what will I need to make this dream a possibility. If you are not certain of what you need to make it, then the key thing you are supposed to do is to think again. Because if you start thinking about the box, say, okay, I got these ideas. I will need this and that and that and that. I will need this amount of money minimum. I will need these materials. Okay, I will need this store. I will need this place. If you think you don't have, if you come to understand that genuinely you don't have those things, you need to put those ideas aside. You can package them or you can store them for the future. And then you look at what is it there? What are there that I can do now without any barrier? So the second stage, what you try to do is to look at those ideas that you can do even without anything. Now, I want to say something. If you have heard people making some bold assertions that you do not need God, you do not need God to make money. I want to take the positive aspect of it. What some of these people are trying to tell you is that look at the statement that was made about the Titanic. He said that the way the ship was made and how safe they thought it was. He said like even this Titanic ship, not even God can sink it. What, in as much as it looks blasphemous, what the person in language, I can analyze it, that what the person intends or intended to say is that this is so good that all things being equal, I am confident that nothing should sink it. So when people say that you do not need God at all in making money, then they are telling you that there are some clues, there are some principles that are already made, that when you follow the principles, you do not need anything at all. If you do not need God, how much more money? How much more any materials? How much more anything that you always see them as a barrier? So that means that there are several ways to go about every barrier. That's to say that even if it is true, you will later talk about the place of God in money making. So until we get there, we are looking at this assumption that even if it is true that you do not need God at all in making money, it is giving us an idea that all that it takes, all that you will need as a living person to make money on earth is available. What you need is the right information, the right guidance, and the right direction. Okay, so that is it. So we wouldn't want to stretch on that matter. So the first step is to identify ideas. When you identify ideas, before you continue or you go back again, you need to think about it. These ideas, are they money making ideas? Am I going to make any, am I going to offer any goods or services? And then am I going to get money in return? If you settle on, if you get that, the next stage you go to, what are the things I will need? What are the requirements? What are those things I will need to be able to pursue this? You think about them. You think about all of them. So you are looking, you are not doing this in isolation. You are doing all of them together. That is why I agree with Connected Minds. So that podcast, Connected Minds, has been saying this. It's about the mind. So the moment you make your mind, he invites fantastic individuals who have made it, and all of them are letting us know how they made it with their mind, not necessarily with some money or with huge sums of money or with the monies you are looking for. So if all these people are living testimony, please, you cannot be an exception, even though there are exceptions to every rule. But I want to challenge you that try and navigate the path they navigated and you will make it. So if you are getting ideas, you look at what are the things I will need to make these ideas a possibility. So that leads us to the third step. The third step is to rethink again, to remove all barriers or to identify different ideas. So you were an honest person, you were not lazy. So you didn't think, you just didn't sample what people are doing. You've forgotten, you didn't even care about where they started to get where they are. You are just looking at where they are now and you want to become like them. And it's not working, and you conclude that this world is weird, this world is wicked, and the rich are going to continue to become rich when some of the rich you see today were even more poorer than you. So the first thing is that when you have identified the idea, you go to the second step. The second step is identifying or outlining the things you will need to make those ideas a possibility. When you do that, you go to the third point or the third step. The third step says that you should rethink about those ideas you've identified to remove all barriers, all obstacles, anything that is going to hinder you from making the idea a possibility. If you do that and you do honest thinking, honest analysis, and there are several barriers, you cannot cross them, you cannot remove it at all costs. That means you need to put all those ideas aside. It means for your specific situation, they are not good for you. You need to look for an idea. I can tell you or can bet you on it that there are over 1,001 ideas that will make everyone start their financial journey to financial freedom or wealth creation to become billionaires and millionaires. There's over 1,001 ideas. You need to keep thinking. So if you go to the third one, you are going to think about the ideas you've identified. If you try to remove all the barriers, this is why we are not talking about business creation, but let me chip in this. I want to chip this to make you understand that when it comes to business, we say that if you want to start a business, you need to look for the money and all of that. And then when it comes to the money, sometimes you might look at you might look for savings, you might go for loans, or you might capitalize on gifts from friends and all of that. But there are some people who will be listening to this video or who will be watching this video, and then they don't, maybe they don't have a job or they are on a job, but at the end of the month, they are even spending more than what they get. That means their income is not even able to balance. So that person has no money to even save. Even though when you talk about money management, when you talk about habits, there are some things you will learn later, habits of the millionaire, or how the rich and the poor think differently, or how they manage their life differently. If you want to attain financial freedom, even before you attain that financial freedom, you need to manage and think about things differently. So there are some people who would want to meet all their expenditure before they do any other thing, whether they are wrong or not. You look at it in subsequent video. But what I want to put over here is that you are not getting any money at the end of the month, or you don't have a job at all, and you don't have any money as it stands now to start any business. You don't have any loan. Maybe you've gone to all friends for loan, you didn't get. You've gone to all banks for loan, you didn't get. What then do you do for such a person? You need to think about an idea will that will work from what you have, that will work without a barrier. So you look at in the next steps when you look at the part 3 of this video, how to make money, you'll be looking at how to remove these barriers. So when you think about removing these barriers and they are not happening, we'll give you some practical ideas. Whether you are a school dropout, you are a complete illiterate, whether you are a trader, you are the water seller somewhere, or you are a cleaner elsewhere, and the money you get from the cleaning is nothing, or you think you are on one job and your expenditure, the need of your family is so huge, and you want to make money, you want to even end that cycle you are going on, or you are even doing 2 or 3 jobs, but you still want to stop, but you don't have any money to start any of the ideas you've identified. The key thing you need to do is to rethink. So you should understand that when it comes to money making, the number one thing you need is not money. The number one thing you need is your mind. And everyone who is not in the psychiatric home, or who is not diagnosed with insanity, you have what it takes to make wealth. You have what it takes to become the millionaire or the billionaire. If you dream it, if you decide it, and you put it in plan, and you take the right information, then you can go. So the key thing to know is the mind. So you keep on thinking. There are countless fantastic ideas that you can start with your mind. That is where you start building your wealth. So when you identify ideas, you outline what you need to make those ideas a possibility. If the ideas you've identified, okay, have so many barriers, then you go to the third point. And the third point is to rethink to the extent that you can remove all those barriers. And the moment you remove those barriers, you are good to go. So this is where our part 2 video on how to make money step-by-step guide ends. Look forward for our third video or our next video on the part 3 of how to make money, and then you will be equipped well enough. This is the Ministry and Money Masterclass with GK. Stay connected, and our amazing videos will transform your life. It will equip you with all the knowledge you need to attain financial freedom. Like our videos and share them. Bye bye.